Why did I become an actress? Probably because my friends told me that I did it very well in college.
Meryl Streep doesn't just act, she transforms. In a world full of performers, she stands alone as the most uncompromising dramatic artist of our time.
What do you say?
Oh,
The pastor.
I did not speak to the pastor. I spoke to a nun.
You should have spoken to the pastor.
I spoke to a nun.
That's not the...
What happens when the most respected actress of all time simply can't stand her co-star? In the hallowed halls of serious dramatic acting, Meryl Streep is more than a performer. She is the high priestess of the craft, an artist whose formidable talent and uncompromising standards have defined excellence for nearly half a century. Her dedication to authenticity is legendary, a ruthless pursuit of psychological truth that has produced some of the most transformative performances in cinema history. But that same perfectionism has, on occasion, created a chilling silence on set. It has put her at odds with fellow actors whose own methods she deemed undisciplined, unprofessional, or simply insufficient. These conflicts rarely erupt into public shouting matches. Instead, they manifest as a kind of professional Cold War, fought in the subtle glances, the strategic distance, and the polite but firm refusal to ever work together again. These stories reveal the fascinating fault lines in Hollywood's creative ecosystem, the seismic clashes between different schools of performance. Today we're pulling back the curtain on the carefully concealed conflicts and professional antagonisms of a legend. Kicking off our countdown at number 6 is the man behind one of Streep's most acclaimed and most contentious collaborations, Dustin Hoffman. During the production of 1979's Kramer vs. Kramer, the world saw an electrifying, painfully authentic portrayal of a marriage collapsing. What they didn't see was the brutal clash of artistic philosophies that fueled it. Streep, the meticulous architect, arrived with every beat, every line, and every tear intellectually mapped out. Hoffman, the volatile agent of chaos, believed in ambushing the truth, using provocation to elicit raw, unscripted emotion. Their opposing methods were destined to collide. Crew members watched as Hoffman, a proponent of method acting's most aggressive tendencies, would deliberately try to throw Streep off her game. But the tension boiled over in a moment that has since become infamous. In an effort to provoke a real reaction for a scene, Hoffman, without warning, shattered a wine glass on the wall right next to Streep's head, sending shards of glass into her hair. He didn't stop there. In a separate, emotionally charged moment, he unexpectedly slapped her across the face just before the cameras rolled, a move that was nowhere in the script. Streep was furious, but carried on. While the director, Robert Benton, found himself a constant mediator, he later admitted that their real-life friction gave the film an undeniable, authentic edge. The on-screen chemistry was a masterpiece of tension, but it was born from a collaboration Streep would later describe as professionally productive, but personally intolerable. She never worked with him again. From a collaboration defined by physical confrontation, we move to our number fave, a quiet, intellectual war on the set of one of Streep's most iconic films, Sophie's Choice, with Kevin Kline. When director Alan J. Pakula cast them, he assumed their shared theatrical pedigrees would create a seamless partnership. Instead, he witnessed a fundamental disagreement over the very nature of performance. Streep's preparation was an act of total immersion. She was poring over historical documents, interviewing survivors, and famously mastering the complex nuances of a Polish-English accent until it was second nature. She built Sophie from the ground up, an academic and emotional excavation. Kline, in contrast, was an artist of instinct. He approached the volatile character of Nathan through spontaneity and explosive energy. This led to a subtle but persistent friction. Crew members would see Kline, a Juilliard-trained theatrical powerhouse, doing frantic push-ups or running in place just before a take, manufacturing a kinetic, almost dangerous energy for his character. To Streep, whose preparation was a quiet, internal process of psychological layering, this must have looked like pure chaos. The tension escalated when Kline reportedly questioned her intense focus on the accent, suggesting her technical precision might be overshadowing the raw emotion. For Streep, this was a fundamental misunderstanding of her craft. The accent wasn't a technical flourish, it was the bedrock of the character's history and trauma. The professional relationship was severed when Kline later characterized her method as academic in interviews, a label that, to Streep, was a dismissive critique of the very research and discipline she held sacred. Coming in at number 4 is an actor who didn't just find Streep's method too academic. He dismissed the entire school of thought as self-indulgent nonsense. Jack Nicholson. This represents a clash of two different Hollywood solar systems, orbiting entirely different suns. Now, the old story often claims these two titans never shared the screen. But that's not true, and the reality is far more interesting. They co-starred in 2 films, 1986's Heartburn and 1987's Ironweed, and their time together only served to crystallize their mutual artistic contempt. Streep is the ultimate chameleon, believing the actor's highest calling is to disappear completely into a role. Nicholson is the ultimate movie star, believing the actor's job is to channel a character through their own undeniable magnetic persona. He isn't playing a character. He is the character. On the set of Heartburn, Nicholson's chaotic rock star energy and his habit of treating the script as a mere suggestion reportedly drove the hyper-prepared Streep to the edge of her professional patience. The conflict was perfectly articulated when Nicholson later publicly dismissed method acting as intellectual masturbation, a clear shot across the bow at the very process Streep embodies. For her, acting is a craft to be built. For him, it's a vibe to be caught. They were two legends on a collision course, and after their brief collaborations, they spent the next 3 decades ensuring their paths never crossed again. At number 3, we shift from a clash of cinematic philosophies to a collision in the world of comedy. On the set of 2009's It's Complicated with Alec Baldwin. Director Nancy Meyers believed pairing the theatrically trained duo would be a recipe for sophisticated comedic chemistry. Instead, it became an exercise in managed conflict. Streep approaches comedy like a surgeon, meticulously dissecting a script to find the humor that emerges organically from character truth and situational absurdity. Every laugh must be earned through authenticity. Baldwin, a master of the comedic broadside, treats funny scenes as an opportunity for a performance showcase, relying on improvisational flair and spontaneous choices to land the joke. Their rehearsal sessions were a diplomatic tightrope walk. The conflict came to a head when Baldwin repeatedly altered scripted dialogue during takes without consultation, a move that completely dismantled the carefully planned, emotional and comedic rhythm Streep had constructed. During one take, Baldwin famously ad-libbed that Streep's beautifully designed kitchen looked like a Williams Sonoma exploded. The line was funny. It even made the final cut. But for Streep, it was another instance of her scene partner playing for the laugh instead of playing the scene. Her visible frustration led to requests for additional rehearsal time to restore order to the chaos, proving that even two brilliant talents can fail to find harmony when one is playing chess and the other is playing jazz. While Alec Baldwin's spontaneity was a challenge, the conflict at number 2 was a far more cerebral affair, a clash of intellectual titans. Jeremy Irons. Both are classically trained, immensely talented performers who discovered that a shared background does not guarantee a shared philosophy. When they worked together on 1993's The House of the Spirits, their initial enthusiasm curdled into a barely concealed professional contempt. Irons embodies an aristocratic approach to acting, emphasizing vocal precision, physical elegance, and a sense of effortless grace. He polishes characters into beautiful, gleaming objects. Streep, in contrast, treats characters like archaeological sites, requiring careful, messy excavation to unearth the truth buried within. The schism is perfectly captured in a now famous quote from Irons, who once stated in an interview, "I don't want to see the wheels turning." While he never mentioned Streep by name, the comment was widely seen as a critique of her meticulously crafted, research-driven style. He allegedly criticized her accent work as technical showing off that distracted from the story. For Streep, this was an attack on her core belief that authentic detail is what builds emotional truth. It doesn't detract from it. Theirs was a tragic incompatibility. Two masters of the craft, who simply could not respect the other's methods, proving that even the highest levels of talent can't bridge a fundamental disagreement on what constitutes art. And finally, we arrive at number 1. This isn't a conflict born from a difficult film set, but one that represents a deep generational divide over the very soul of Hollywood. Gwyneth Paltrow. As Paltrow rose to prominence in the mid-90s, Streep reportedly observed her career with a growing skepticism, seeing a performer who prioritized celebrity cultivation over the rigorous dedication to craft. This simmering disapproval boiled over during the 1999 Oscar race. Streep had delivered a devastating, deeply researched performance in One True Thing, while Paltrow was the charming lead in Shakespeare in Love. When Paltrow won, it wasn't just an upset, it was the culmination of an unprecedentedly aggressive and expensive campaign, orchestrated by the now disgraced Harvey Weinstein. He had effectively marketed a star into an Oscar, breaking unwritten rules and changing the game forever. For Streep and many old guard actors, it wasn't about losing an award. It was about the art of acting, losing to the art of the deal. In the years that followed, Streep's praise for younger actresses was always conspicuously directed at those who demonstrated deep research and technical commitment. Her strategic silence on Paltrow's dramatic achievements spoke volumes. A quiet but firm judgment on a new Hollywood where branding could triumph over brilliance. These stories aren't just about backstage drama or personal dislike. They are about a sacred dedication to the craft. For Meryl Streep, acting is not a job. It is a calling that demands discipline, intelligence, and a relentless pursuit of truth. Her conflicts weren't petty squabbles. They were theological disputes over the very soul of performance, waged by an artist who has refused for 5 decades to compromise her standards for anyone. Which of these creative clashes surprised you the most? Was it a clash of method or a clash of ego? And is there another legendary on-set conflict you think deserves a deep dive? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this look behind the curtain of Hollywood, make sure to hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe for more stories that go beyond the script.